Hey everybody, welcome to my home studio. It's Dakota here, and doing something a little bit different than the normal gaming you may see on my YouTube channel and such. Microphone in the mouth, it's very helpful. I'm all stuck on it. But we're doing something a little bit different here today because I want to talk to you guys. If you don't know, a writer is what I am, and during quarantine, which is what we're in right now currently. If you're watching this and the world's ended, that sucks. But currently, we're in the middle of the pandemic and quarantine, and people are doing a lot of writing, hopefully, if you're a writer. And so have I, and I've been doing a bunch of stuff, and I have a book out there called Operation Kaiju Shield, where we put giant monsters in Vietnam. I wanted to talk to you guys because I get questions a lot. How do you write for Kaiju? How do you do a giant monster storyline? How the hell do you even create one like that? Well, it's pretty simple. Actually, it's not. That's why I'm doing this video. It takes a lot of storytelling elements to it, and I'm here to discuss that with you guys today of how to write Kaiju. That's the whole point of it. In a minute in, and now I'm telling you what the hell the video's about. But yeah, it's how to write Kaiju and giant monsters, because it's not just as simple as people think of monster suit battles, everything like that. Oh, yeah, this is all that. People appreciate professional, right? But people appreciate, the good storytelling. People appreciate good, like King of the Monsters, right? King of the Monsters did very well. The box office numbers are okay. Actually, they were actually really good. But they went the Marvel movie shit, which is to be expected. But everyone that saw it loved it. It made people Kaiju fans, giant monster fans, all the sort of realm here. More than Pacific Rim did, and I love Pacific Rim. But it was good for so many different reasons, and I've used those. This is what I've learned when writing Kaiju, and I want to be full clear on this. You may not be able to see, there's a King Kong poster right there. I have a Cat Kaiju calendar. And the collection, if I can do this right, is underneath that bracket over there. But I'm a huge Kaiju fan. Let's start. My first cartoon was Godzilla the series after the 98 movie. Better than the regular movie. Shh, don't tell. Think you're really good. Check it out if you're a fan. Obviously, you're a Kaiju fan if you're watching this video. But this is a very informative thing for you guys. So yeah, I do want to say, Giant Monster Fanasio, English. I can't speak it, but I can write it. And there's just so much to it, the genre, that, there's so much to it that you love. Like, if you notice, you go back into look at the history of Godzilla. Toho has changed the writing of it all. It used to be really really dark, and then really serious and shit like that. Now we're in a mixture of young adult and adult. And it's a really good time to be alive for a Kaiju fan. It really is. But, the writing process of this is something that takes forever, usually a team. But say you're on your own, or say you're going to a team meeting for something. For a movie, for a comic series, for a special, for a mini comic online or something, whatever it may be. This is something for you guys. So the first thing I have on here is something really important, and Godzilla 2014 really showed this to us. Really professional, but hey, this is going to be a long video, so refreshments, water, very helpful. So far in the pandemic, still able to get water. Being in Phoenix, Arizona, you just never know. I'll put this aside over there. Yes. But the thing with writing, if we saw in Godzilla 2014, like I was saying, we saw it with them. We saw it with so much people. You don't feel like you're watching a monster movie. Which is, if the people are paying for whatever your product is, they're really wanting to see what the hell it is. They really want to be like, oh, that's right. This is a monster movie. But you only shown me 5 minutes. Is it really what you want there? No. So the thing with that is to make sure you guys do not have too much humans. Not in the sense of crowds, but in the sense of too many people, plot holes. Well, not plot holes, that's one other thing, but too many things with people. You want to know they're in a world of giant monsters. Like King of the Monsters is the perfect example. It gave you family. It gave you people. It gave you lots of monsters. So they're able to do that 3. Those 3 there. The other thing, though, is if you have too much of people, your plot gets furthered, but it doesn't go to where you want it to be. Like, you're like, oh, yeah, the plot, it's still going. It's still going to be a story, but it's not the story you want to tell. And it's like, oh, shit. It's just a family movie with maybe a giant monster popping up every now and then. That's not what you're going for. You don't want that because people are not going to like that at all. I like Godzilla 2014. Is it amazing? No. Not even in the top 10. Sorry. I mean, it's competed against 65 years or 75 years at this point, so But, so do you want enough humans to further your plot line? You want enough humans to further your storytelling of what the story trying to tell here? Which, that gets me to the next part here, is to have a message. Every one of these movies has a message. The good ones, at least. 75 years of Godzilla, every movie is like, Godzilla vs. Hedorah. The smog monster, right? I actually got a plushie right over there. Believe me, it's there. And it was a lot of money. Actually, no, it wasn't that bad. But the thing is they even had a message of pollution, right? The new monster movie's coming out here. The message of humanity's not in charge of nature, which fuck, we're learning that with Corona right now. But we know that, hey, humanity's maybe not the apex predator we think we are, which working at a zoo, let me tell you, it's the truth. And Corona, again, it tells us that. But the thing is to remember, you have a message, and because you're telling a story, right? Every story is a message. Every story tells a message, even if you don't know what it is. Even if you don't think there is one, there is a message in every story. Make sure you're telling a story that has a message. You could be telling about family, about friends, banning, like Operation Kaiju Shield. The message in that one, like the story is Kaiju in Vietnam, right? They started popping up, genetic engineering. We have different waves, like just giant monsters, or it's giant monsters, but like animals and bugs in the first wave. The second wave is like out there, outlandish, really, really Toho-esque monsters. We're getting to that in the series soon, hopefully. And the thing is you got to make sure the message in there, the message of Operation Kaiju Shield, right? Let me stay on point here. Is banding together in times of chaos. Banding together as brothers, like humanity will band together and fight the chaos that is trying to kill you. That's just one of the messages. And the other message is brotherhood, brotherhood in war. All sorts of stuff. Those are the messages in Operation Kaiju Shield. And if you want to bring it to your comic or movie, you got to have one with that. It can be a message with the people. And maybe it's a message in there that doesn't even have to do with people. Maybe it's a message saying, hey, there's monsters in the world. Hey, the world is a lot more scary than we think. Or, hey, let's not mess with nature. Well, that's humanity a little bit, but maybe it's just something different along the ends there. The other thing is, speaking of uniqueness, is be unique. You don't want to be copying stuff. You don't want your C movie to be a Godzilla ripoff, which somehow those make money. I don't understand. But they don't get recognized. They don't get known. Like, we look at it and be like, oh, look at that. That was neat. That's it. That's just it. Doesn't resonate with fans. They're not going to come back. They're going to be like, it's still a knockoff. What do you want that one for? It's not like a Greater Mills thing or whatever from the source. Water. Really good substances. But be unique. Butch Hartman always said it too. Be unique. Kevin Smith, Steven Spielberg, be unique. You don't want to be copying other people's storyline or anything like that. I get a Kaiju in Vietnam. You kind of got that in Kong Skull Island. You got that vibe. But no one ever does that. And no one ever does that vibe. And that's why I went for that. No one ever does that sort of thing. Ever. Like we did when it was the time. But you want a period piece with giant monsters, right? You want to do a period piece. You want to do certain types of monsters that maybe you've never seen before, which is going to be my next topic. And so you want to make sure when you're writing your story, when you're writing it, you want to be sure, absolutely sure, you have uniqueness to it. You don't want to copy. You don't. Just don't. Right? Maybe you can take inspiration for a couple different things, maybe, or maybe it's a nod or an Easter egg. Go right ahead. That's fine. But you don't want to be that guy who's like, oh, yeah, I got famous for doing a knockoff. You don't want that. You don't want that because it's not going to help you in your storytelling and people are not going to like it. So the next thing of being unique, too, is to have good monsters. And actually, I'll go back to one thing here, but because we talked about it a little bit here, is to have classic fights between the monsters and the people. I didn't really talk about that too much, but I kind of hit on it, I believe, and the classic fights with the monsters and the people is to have some where you have monster fights. So you want to have a monster fight, right? That's the thing. You want to have a monster fight. You want to have your creatures battle each other, or maybe if there's no other monsters but you only have one, budgetary or whatever reasons. You want to make sure you have something really cool. Like you want to make sure you have a really cool monster for one, which we'll get to. We'll go back to that one in a minute, but stay with me. Is you want to make sure that you have the fights between the monster and the people be something classic. You want the Kaiju versus a tank. You want that versus an airplane or jets or Kong versus airplanes, right? Yeah, Kong versus, speaking of the Kong, boop. You want to have something where, like that's classic, right? Kong's classic because it's a gorilla versus avian tech. Got it on Skull Island with the Hueys, which is amazing. And we also have it with every other movie in the biplanes or other attack stuff. Who knows, whatever it may be. So you want to have that. You want to have the classic stuff of a human versus a monster. You don't want to be the monster's just destroying the city and that's it. Well, where's the military? Where's the people fighting back? Where's the people running? Like, where's the other monsters fighting? Like, in today's world, or even any peace and period of time, people do fight back. It's not just you destroy the city and you got a couple survivors looking on and nothing happens. No. I'm sorry, this does not work that way. If I've seen movies like that, I've seen books like that, I've seen so many things like that where it's like, oh, this destroys it. The world does jack shit. No, it doesn't work. You got to have that classic battles. You know, who knows? I mean, you can mix it up a little bit. Maybe it's maser tanks. Maybe it's... I mean, there's so many possibilities you can do for it. So going back to uniqueness here is the uniqueness between monsters. You want to have monsters that you can tell the difference of. You don't want a Michael Bay Transformers-esque thing where you have no idea what the fuck you're looking at. You want to be like, oh yeah, that's that one there. Like, oh, there's a flying one versus a land one. Or whatever. That one's 3 heads, and there's one that had 7. The Hydra. Like, it's actually kind of similar, but you get my point. You don't want to have monsters that look the same, because if they look the same, you're not going to be able to support one, think one's a villain, or... like one or dislike another one, or know who's attacking and who's not. You don't want to do that. It's kind of bad. So, yeah, uniqueness with your monsters is something very important here. And you want to make sure it brings people. Because if you put that monster on the poster, right, you got the boop. You got that, want that poster that something's going to know. Like, people are like, oh, I want to see that. Oh, yeah, let's go do that. Woo! It's good. Like, you resonates with kids, or resonates with the young adults, or resonates with the old elderly folk, which is a large number of them who like kaiju still. Amazing shit. So think about that one too. Keep that in mind. Uniqueness of monsters is what's going to sell or break your product when you're writing it. And also it helps further your story because maybe it's a certain type of kaiju. Like it really adds plot points to your story. Like the smog monster. We'll use that one example again. A blob with eyes that lays eggs. You could write so many stories about that shit. So many. So use that and keep that one in mind too. My final point here at the end, pun intended, is to know your end goal. The end goal, when you're writing any story, should be known. Operation Kaiju Shield, there is an end goal. There's many stories I'm going to be telling with that till then, but know the end goal, the end of your story is what that means. Know the end of what you're going to tell is a writer's saving grace, because say you are writing a comic, right? Or if you're a comic reader, there's stories in there that you see, that you read, and you're like, oh, fuck, why are you doing this? Like, you should have known when to end. Or even better yet, Netflix. They drown out their stuff to 13 episodes. You need to be 9 or 10. You didn't need this extra 2, and you're like, this is a filler. You don't want to do fillers with your episodes, with your issues, with your movies. You don't want that. You just want to be able to tell your story and know your end goal, because that will 100% tell your message, get good content, bring your people back, and tell a good damn story of kaiju. That's the point. That's why I'm watching the video, to get notes on what to do for it. Know your end goal. It will help you tell your story so much more. Let me drink water. I'm not making this video long for you guys, so I do want to say thank you for tuning into this episode of How to Write Kaiju. And you can take these points, and these are just some points, because I don't want to tell a writer how to write specifically, because that's bullshit. Anyone I've known in the comic book industry, in the film industry, will definitely tell you otherwise. Or will tell you the same thing. Professionals, at least. People who are like, I know everything. This does not fucking work. I know a little bit. This is the little bit that I know that gets me through to my storyline that people tend to like. So why not give my helpful hints to you guys as well? I'm trying to think. No, that's about it. Yeah, that's about it right now. So if you guys enjoy this video, like, subscribe, stay tuned for the gaming stuff that I do on the YouTube channel too, or if you want to check stuff out, you can. If you want to keep touch with the comic book I do, Operation Kaiju Shield, you can follow me at DakotaMorgan3 on Twitter, or even better, at Dakota_Morgan97 on Instagram. Stay in touch with the podcast I do, the comics, the film, all that other jazz. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. This is weird. This is weird doing this sort of thing here, but people wanted the content. People ask questions all the time and whatnot. I'm going to do a whole video on writing pretty soon, but I'm gathering data from you guys on your comment questions you want. It's going to be a few days. Thanks everyone for tuning into this episode, and subscribe if you want. It's helpful. It is. And if you want to know more writing tips, like I do stuff with people with superpowers, super PD, other issues like young power, how to write for teenagers, how do you do that when they have their own world and shit like that. And there's also, I can't say much because of NDAs, but, excuse me, is to be able to, how to write for dinosaurs, how to write for magic, and all this other stuff like that. If you want to know more about that, those ones are going to be tricky because I can't break any NDAs on stuff. But if you guys want to know more on how to write or maybe other things as well too, leave a comment down below. Thanks for tuning into this episode, and as always, stay tuned for more free content because it's the quarantine, and I'm trying to give you guys some good shit. Thanks, everyone, and hopefully this helps you. And keep on writing, my fellow writers.